Hiya Jack, we're in the session. Hope you found it helpful. Just going to run through the stuff we discussed now from the session. Starting with the setup, so we can see on the right hand side now you're quite a long way over the ball there. Quite a bit of stretching for that golf ball. For me, just a very sort of squat, bent over position, which made it very hard for your body to rotate. And very, very difficult to sort of function. And because of that there, when you did make a rotate, it was a massive kind of heave-ho turn, lots of lower half movement, lots of other body parts moving unnecessarily, and just making it very, very difficult then for you to control the club face back to the golf ball. Now, if we look on the right hand, one of the club gets taken away because of that limited rotation. Your arms kind of move in a way on the outside. If you look at the blue sort of arrow just behind the sort of the end of the grip there, as you can see, as you go back, your hands actually move away from that. And the club at this point now really sort of pulling your weight sort of towards your toes here now as you go back. Then your forearms obviously start rotating the club to get to the top of the backswing. And now we get a bit sort of like flatter with that backswing as we get to the top. As a result of that, now in the wider stance that we had in that sort of stretching position, you can see now as you come into the golf ball now, a real big reach out for that golf ball. Lower half very, very static. A lot of space between hands and legs here now. Club not really under a lot of control and having to try and sort of flip the club face or square the club face up, because when the club was around about here, coming back in the golf ball, it was aiming quite a long way right. And at the last second, you've got to try and flip it to get it back to square. If you time it, the game's brilliant and the ball's going to fly nice and straight and a long way because you've got a lot of power. When you get it wrong, big hook to the left or a big slice to the right. So if you look on the right hand one, you see a lot more comfortable over the golf ball. It did feel very close to you when you first did this. Again, play about with that distance there, just making sure you're a little bit taller at setup, much more relaxed position for where your body can rotate more effectively. And the feeling is now, again, if you're using that blue arrow just behind the hands there, this movement now as the arms start working back, mainly because the torso is turning more effectively. Now the club now at this position, we can see very different. If we go back to that position on your old swing, the arms here now are working out and away from the body. Just a lot of space between your hands there and the legs compared to this more compact controlled position. Then as we start sort of swinging the golf club back, getting that feeling of this movement with the torso, try to do that without watching it with your eyes, because if then swinging the golf club towards the ball, you don't really want your eyes to be following that. So you want to try and feel that mainly, as opposed to sort of watch it. You can swing to there without looking, stop, and then check to see whether you're correct, but try to sort of follow it with your eyes there as you go back. So as we get that club to the position here now, much better position in terms of where the arms are going, club much more under control, as we can now swing the top of the back, so the club's on much better plane and angle. As we come back into impact, you can see here now the arms much more comfortably under the shoulders, a lot less stretching for that golf ball. As we said, when you look at this sort of impact position as you come in the golf ball here now, arms just miles away from where your body is. And if you actually look when you swing through the ball now, because your feet were a bit closer and you were able to rotate more effectively because you were taller, you can see now your lower half and body kind of sort of sinking up through, and a nice kind of functional swing through towards target. Compare that to this movement now, your right foot doesn't really come off the ground until well after the shot. Look how much sort of awkward your head is there, dipping down there. If you sort of compare the same sort of position here now as we go through, the arms sort of swinging through, that right foot coming off the ground a lot more comfortably, whereas this one here now, there's a lot more kind of effort to get yourself through and then come through at the end there to try and hit the golf ball. As I said, the shot on the right hand side was a reasonable shot, but it just took a lot of timing to do that. And from a consistency standpoint, you said, if your club face coming into the golf ball is aiming over there just before impact, and at the last second you've got to try and do some kind of like recovery. When it's good, you're shooting low 80s. When it's not so good, you're probably not going to break 100. So work on that setup, try and get more comfortable with that address position, get that sensation of that club working back kind of with the body and the turning the torso, the hands and arms together, not the forearms sort of pushing away and rotating. So I thought it makes sense. Any questions, obviously, buddy, give me a shout. Send some videos over from the driving range sessions if you get some chance to practice, and I'll catch up with you soon. Cheers, mate.